Hi, Cynthia here with a video about the transfer process. So the transfer in surrogacy is what they call transferring the embryo into the surrogate's uterus. So the first part of all of this, after the match and the medical screening and all of that, the first part of it is that, and you'll see in my other videos when I opened my box of injections and medications and where I've actually done injections on myself to show you, the surrogate does have to take injections for anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks, depending on the fertility clinic doctor's protocol. During this time, there'll also be intermittent blood work to check the blood work and the hormones and things like that. There'll also be a certain amount of vaginal ultrasounds. And what these do is they kind of call them the first one's called a baseline. So the baseline one measures how thick your uterine lining is to start, so they can monitor the medications that you're taking until your uterus gets to the thickness that they want. The intended parents are allowed to be at the transfer if they want to. If they can't, which so this is my 5th process. So one of my 4 that I've already completed was there at the transfer, and I was totally okay with that. If they can't be there, because all my other ones were international couples, if they can't be there, the fertility clinic is usually nice enough to let me record it, so I can send that to the parents so they can, feel like they were part of it. It's important to me for the intended parents to be able to feel like they're part of it if they can't be there. So the procedure itself is actually really, really easy. And as a surrogate, you will get, they call them fees, like the fees that you are paid. As a surrogate, you'll get paid the injection start fee. So that ranges by agency, but you do get paid for starting to poke yourself with needles. That's a good thing. And you will get paid for the transfer procedure. So the procedure itself, like I said, you inject yourself 3 to 5 weeks, and then you go in, and the procedure, they try to make the room very calm. And if the intended parent is present, some of the clinics that I've seen will have the ultrasound be viewed on a big screen so the parents can see it. During the procedure, they also have like a darker room. I've been told before that the embryos are light sensitive, and other places told me that they were not. So I think just the dim atmosphere is more relaxing. As you can see in my videos, I never have one of those big, huge, like circle lights the Kardashians have, that make them look all glowy and beautiful. I'm very light sensitive, and so everything in my house is darker and dimmer and more homey and warm. So you'll never see me looking all fantastic like a Kardashian. So I like the dimmer atmosphere. I also think it's relaxing. So they'll kind of dim the atmosphere, make everything relaxing. And then once the lights are kind of turned down, what they'll do is they pull the embryo into a catheter. So a catheter is a really skinny, long tube, and it will be in there. And as soon as the doctor is in place with the speculum and he's looking with the ultrasound and he sees exactly like he's examining the thickness and he sees exactly where he wants to put that tiny little baby embryo. And so when he's ready, he'll be like, okay, give me the embryo over here, person, my assistant. And he'll put the catheter into the speculum. We'll do this. So here's the speculum and it's inside your uterus, right? So they'll stick the catheter, and the catheter will go all the way in to your open uterus. So now we're this way because it's open. And it'll go in there, and they'll aspirate the catheter, or inject the catheter, flow it with saline. Sorry if I messed any of that up. They'll push it through. That's a better way of putting it, like an IV. They'll push saline through the catheter, which will push the embryo out and hopefully make sure it goes into the uterine wall. So then what they do is they take that catheter back to the microscope and totally look through the entire catheter and make sure the embryo did not get stuck in there somehow. That's never happened to me. I don't know what would happen if it did. I don't know if they would take it back and just try to push it through again, or if it would contaminate the whole embryo and they have to get a backup. I've heard before that normally they'll have the one perfect embryo and then they'll have a backup ready as well in case the embryo doesn't survive the thaw. So there's a possibility that after it's cryogenically frozen, that the embryo won't make the thaw. It won't survive through the thawing process. So they normally thaw more than one. And then so if everything was okay and the embryo went into the uterus, then the surrogate is supposed to lay there for 15 minutes, which I don't think that's long enough. So they actually have to start trying to kick me out after like 30 minutes. And then you're okay to go back to if you're local to the fertility clinic, you're okay to go back home. And then depending on the fertility clinic, they'll put you either on 1 day strict bed rest or 3 days strict bed rest. If they put you on 1 day strict bed rest, then they'll just be like, okay, first day strict bed rest. The rest of the few days, just take it really easy. You can get up to make yourself food. Of course, you can get up to use the restroom, to get to and from bed, all of that. If you're not local, then they might try to make you stay in a local hotel for 3 days, or with what my experiences are, I stay in a hotel that first day and overnight, and then the next day I go home and I finish my bed rest at home. I am a homebody. I love my home. It's very nice. It's very relaxing. You want to be relaxed after you have the transfer to make sure there's more likelihood of the baby sticking. So I go straight home and do my bed rest at home, not straight home, but the following day. I have gone home the same day before, but that was when I was a little bit more local to the clinic. Let's see, got the bed rest after, and then after that, the pregnancy test. So for example, my embryo transfer is going to be on the 31st of this month, so August 2018. So my embryo transfer, they're going to knock me up on the 31st, and that it really is what I say to people in real life. Yeah, they ask me, have you got your transfer date yet? Yeah, I'm getting knocked up on the 31st. So it is what it is. Like to make it funny. I also tell people part of my career is I, professionally have babies for people, kind of is what it is. It makes them laugh and they're like, what? And then of course I answer any questions. But my embryo transfer is going to be on August 31st, and then September 12th, they have my planned pregnancy test. So a little less than 2 weeks later, they'll have you take a blood pregnancy test. Of course, surrogates get antsy before then, and we start taking urine tests before then, trying to see how many days we have to get to till the little pink line shows up. Because like I said in another video, in my experience, and I have done this will be my 5th time, like I said, but I've also worked in the medical field for a while before currently being a personal trainer. So I worked in the medical field in all different departments. I've worked in family practice, ortho, sports medicine, hand therapy, other ones I'm boring you, but situationally to this, OBGYN. So what I learned from working in OB is that it's very possible to have a false negative, but you hardly ever can get a false positive. So once that little pink line starts showing up, and it could be super, super faint. If it's faint, it's there. So surrogates will start taking that so we can see and, get all excited and tell our intended parents, hey, not to get you too excited, but I took a pregnancy test today and it already has a little pink line, because it's always more fun and gratifying for the surrogate to be able to tell the intended parent that she's done a great job and she's pregnant with their baby. So it's always kind of a buzzkill if the clinic is the one that gets to tell them. That's no fun. We're the one who's getting knocked up for them. It's always nice if we can be the one to break the news and make their day. So once they actually put the embryo inside you, the embryo can be what they call a 3-day embryo or a 5-day embryo, which means that once they put it in you, it's already 5 days old, if it's a 5-day-old embryo. So it grew for that amount of days. So once they put it in you, it's already 5 days old. And then you'll take the pregnancy test, anywhere from 12 to 14, 10 to 14 days later, and then you'll be able to see. As far as the surrogate starting to get her compensation, because yes, you'll have a base compensation amount, but the surrogate does not start getting paid that until the pregnancy is confirmed by fetal heartbeat, the little flutter on the ultrasound machine. So we don't unfortunately start getting paid just by a pregnancy test. We have to wait all the way until fetal heartbeat can be confirmed, which is normally around 6 weeks. So we do not start, and it's normally the first of the month after. So if you have your ultrasound for fetal heartbeat confirmation on the second of the month, you will not get your first paycheck until all the way until the next first. So it kind of sucks. Unless you word your contract, and like I said in another video, I will have specifically a contract video meant to really help surrogates protect themselves and to know what to look for. Unless it says in your contract that you're entitled to that compensation right away, normally you don't get it paid until the first of the month after confirmation of fetal heartbeat. And that's not just the sound, which sometimes the sound can be harder to hear, but just seeing it on the ultrasound. Because like I said, it'll be like a little flutter. That's what they call a little heart flutter. It'll go like that. And so it's pretty cool to see on the screens. You can't always hear it, but you can try to see it. So if you're lucky, you can see it a bit earlier than 6 weeks, but I think that's about when they have your ultrasound done to get that taken care of. So then you'll start getting your monthly compensations. So it can take quite a while for a surrogate to get the monthly compensation. So that's probably part of the reason why they want you to be financially stable when you're going into this, because otherwise you're going to be, super freaking out about getting your compensations when there's a time for everything. So yes, once again, I went over the injections. Your intended parents are allowed to be there. If they can't, it's always nice to film it for them. We went over the procedure, the bed rest process, taking your pregnancy tests, and the surrogate's payment. So that's all to this little transfer video. I hope I didn't miss anything, and I hope you guys are all enjoying these videos. So please subscribe, because I saw I have 4 subscribers, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot to all the major YouTubers out there, but those 4 little people, I definitely heart you, and I appreciate you guys wanting to watch. So if you think anybody's interested in this video, please let them know, whether it's surrogates or intended parents, or even anybody that's just going through IVF and they're going to get their own baby transferred inside them. These are some of the things that they'll go through as well. So thank you guys all, and I hope you have a great day, and please watch my videos. Thanks, bye.